The internet is cracked, the show that asks the question, can we coexist with our creation?
Hello, I'm Seth Camillo.
And I am Caroline Risberg, and we are The Internet is Cracked by Addicts for Addicts.
And this week we are so very lucky to be talking to my friend, an acclaimed writer and filmmaker, Dan Kraus. And we're going to explore how the internet and AI are reshaping the craft of storytelling. From screen to page, he brings a unique lens to what writing and filmmaking mean in an era of accelerating technological change. He, with Guillermo del Toro, co-wrote The Shape of Water, which was the inspiration for the Oscar-winning film The Shape of Water. And he also worked with Guillermo del Toro on the Emmy-winning show Troll Hunters. His new book, Angel Down, is going to be released at the end of July. Pick up a copy. It is getting incredible reviews. So, Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
We go back. We don't need to say how far we go back because then we're going to age ourselves, but we go back.
Well, actually, I actually want to ask you about your book, and Angel Down. Can you say anything about it before we go into our
Yes.
other question, please?
Yeah, it's a book set in World War I, and it's about these 5 soldiers who are given the unpleasant task of going into no man's land between the 2 trench sides and euthanizing a soldier who's out there dying, probably in the barbed wire. But when they get out there, they find it's not a soldier at all. It's an angel that the artillery has shot down. So they then have to figure out what they want to do with it. And it has the power of doing miraculous things, ending the war, whatever. But they each have their sort of selfish individual desires for the angel, and that ends up taking this, what could be a heavenly encounter, and turns it into sort of a personal hell for all of them.
Wow. Wow, that sounds really
Yeah, that sounds
really
really good.
good.
I want to read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to read
Wow.
it. I love this
Cool.
kind of fantasy, real kind of movies. Wow.
Cool.
Yes. But I want to ask you also, when it comes to internet and all this, what excites you the most and what scares you the most about writing in the age of AI?
I just am among the masses who really don't like how all of our work is being scraped by AI machines. Every other month there's a new database where I see everyone post about, oh, my books were in this latest pile of AI scraping. And I never look into it. I never click on it and see which books of mine are in there. I'm sure they're all in there.
Oh,
I don't know what that would do except make me personally infuriated. But I really couldn't be any more infuriated, really. It's one thing when a person steals something from you. And in some ways, steals even a harsh word. Like, you can be inspired by things and borrow things, and
Yes. Yes.
that's all fine. But it's another thing when it's a computer doing it, and
Yeah.
there's no, there's no other spark. Like, somebody could be inspired by something I made and then combine it with something they're interested in and create something new, and that's great. That's how creativity works.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But
There would be no Einstein without Newton, basically. I mean, things get moved
right,
forward.
right. But if it's a computer just taking it for the computer's use, I don't know why anyone would want to be a party to that.
I
And
have to tell you, I do have a little bit of a different view, looking at films that I've made. There's something I have claimed fair use myself, right? I have gone through lawyers and claimed fair use. And there is something to me that feels like this is fair use. Like, I made a film about the circus. Where is it going to see the physics of a circus trick, And like, maybe I'm adding to the collective art I sometimes wonder that. And then also other times I feel like I'm being stolen from. But
Do you mean were you using, like, stock footage and stuff?
no, this is stuff I shot and nobody else has. There's nobody else who's ever shot a quadruple somersault on the trapeze, right? So if you're writing a prompt and you're saying an AI prompt and you say, "Show me I want it to a quadruple somersault or a triple somersault," probably it's going to refer to my circus movie or, and it's like it doesn't necessarily rub me the wrong way because I feel like I'm helping some maker make something. I'm saying that the physics of somebody doing a triple or quadruple somersault is something that an AI is not going to have to build on. And so
Mm,
when somebody says, "I want a trapeze artist to do a triple somersault and make an AI video for me," it's going to refer to my film for the physics. And that somehow doesn't bother me.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about sort of a mechanical act, you know? Like,
mm,
um yeah, I can kinda see that. The question just becomes one of trust then, like, is that an accurate representation of it? Where did you get it? How did you
mm,
find how did you replicate it? Is it is it at all accurate? Did AI change it? Are the joints bending in a different way now? It's
mm,
a can of worms, but your point is taken, though.
Yeah.
right. But I like what you said though, because I could see it when um, AI you're putting into a machine.
I don't see what was wrong with the old way of just having to look into it. I'm gonna search, I'm gonna find, has
Right.
anyone filmed this? Um, Let me go see who has filmed this in the past and where I can find that. Um, I don't see the problem with that. And as a bonus, like when I was doing Angel Down, someone was like, "Oh, you can just." I was basically creating the entire um, infantry brigade battalion sort of breakdown, all the
Mhm.
leaders, when all the names was, and someone was like, "Well, AI can just you could just have AI make it out that because it's not that important. Most of those names are never going to come up in the book." Um, and I was like, "Well, yeah, but in the research and the work it's gonna take me to create this, I'm gonna learn so many things.
Yeah.
Uh, you just spit that out, and I was like, "Okay, I guess I have it now," but all the wrong turns I make when putting that together and all the places I look and the information wasn't there, but something else was there, that all is part of, that it's like a microcosm of a liberal arts education. It's like it's the classes you sign up for are not really indicative of what you're learning that sort of is in the ether or sort of behind all of
Mm,
it.
right.
So if you're researching and having to go the hard way to find that circus trick, I think you're
Mm,
going to learn a lot more and you're going to remember a lot more and it's going to mean more to you than just this AI version that may or may not even be accurate.
Well, I
yeah.
feel the same way. Actually, I do feel about music now. I make music and I have a lot of music up online. And for me, I said, like I had certain rules for myself to make it human, like I'm not going to use complicated vocal assists and all that stuff. And I had to be able to play at least halfway through before I stopped. And, now there's AI music that's really good, to be honest, I think. But it's not human, right? So does it really exist in the same way? It's not a human saying something.
Yeah, I just don't know why we want it. I don't know why we want it. When we
Yeah,
have
I
all
know.
this other stuff that already exists created by actual humans, I sort of understand the early adopter sort of curiosity about it. I mean, I sort of get that, it's like a player piano or something. It's like, okay, well, that's neat. It can sort of do its play by its. That's cool. But what I wouldn't want to do is go out to a club and there's a bunch of player pianos there. Like
Right.
you, I don't understand. It's the antithesis of everything that art is supposed to do. It's supposed to connect people. It's not supposed to connect
Yeah.
people to um, a uh, a file cabinet, essentially.
Right. I agree. I know that some people have said like, who want to be writers who like, oh yeah, I can write with ChatGPT and it gives me, like, we can brainstorm together. I mean, like, what do you think about like that concept of brainstorming with a machine?
I mean, why not brainstorm with a person? I don't get it.
Right? Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I agree.
I don't
Yeah,
understand what was wrong with the old way.
yeah,
All I see are pitfalls to the new way. All I see
yeah,
are shortcuts that will limit the experience, if not completely send it awry, with the
yeah.
inaccuracy and um, outright theft of some other brainstorm that really is just taking from something else that's already out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, it seem all I see is pitfalls. All I see are dangers. I don't I I don't see in the artistic. I see all sorts of applications for you AI and like science and that all
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes sense to me. But in the art world, I don't get any of it. I don't see why any of it's useful. I don't see why any of it should be encouraged.
I don't write, like, for instance, if I was gonna write you an email, like, I don't know if you remember, but you've watched since college, you've watched 2 of my feature films, and you have read 2 of my short stories and given me feedback. And I would never write you an email using ChatGPT, even if it's gonna end up being worse, because I would want you to hear me. I don't want you to hear ChatGPT. And so I agree with that authenticity. I guess maybe there's just something that fascinates me that it can do it, and maybe that's a lot that's behind these. I mean, my dad's a mathematician, physicist, and if you're a computer science guy, maybe it's just that it works. It's so exciting, you
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
doubt that it's
Yeah.
just
I
like
guess
when we
it's.
saw first when those first images came out a few years ago, the very first wave of AI generated images. I remember there was this one that was like stills from a abandoned David Cronenberg movie. It was called something like Flesh Planet or something. And before you your eyes zoned in on the fact that nobody's fingers were distinct.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
Mhm.
you got to that, it was stunning, and you're like, "Holy shit! These are the most amazing images. Can't wait to see. I wish this movie would have been made." And then that's before you realize, oh, this was all generated. That's amazing too. So I get it. I get the excitement of it. Um, I just think it's like it's a hallway to nothing. It's
Yeah.
it's I don't know why we would want to have
Yeah.
all.
I.
Well, maybe like most things that are created by the United States, at the end of the day, it has to do with military. Maybe this is just the offshoot of something that was created to make a better military product.
Yeah, I mean that's always a possibility. A lot of groundbreaking inventions. They're the front facing version of government technology. You
Well,
know,
I do. My friend and I've said this in several interviews, so I don't know if it's going to get old to all our fans who re-listen. But David Rodnitsky related a friend of mine who we interviewed related the fact that they were not sure when they detonated the first bomb if it would set off a chain
Mm.
reaction and all atoms would explode and they would destroy the world. And they did it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I mean, patriotism or curiosity,
I think a
something,
curiosity.
curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Curiosity killed the cat. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I don't understand it either. I don't understand why why do we want to build something that basically what it they are trying to do that can outright us, who can outfilm, like can do take our jobs, whatever. Like what are we doing? Like why I that's always going to be my big
Yeah.
question.
You just
I also just see pitfalls. I don't know where this is going. Uh
Yeah, it's not even that like we are like creating the things that will make us obsolete. But
Mhm.
it's like we're not even necessarily doing it. Other people are doing it. Like
Right.
people who are. It's generally not novelists who are scraping everyone's. It's these AI companies. So it's just like someone's coming in and getting into your brain pan and kind of
Mhm.
scalping things out of there, which just feels icky and should
Mhm.
be like instinctively just common sense shouldn't not be legal. Like,
I agree.
But
I
I don't think
100% agree. I mean, yeah,
I
sorry.
think they can't. I think they can't do that because of the competition with the other countries where it will always be legal. Russia, China. I mean, these places are not respectful of copyright. So it's like you say, okay, we got to respect copyright. You're essentially saying like, okay, Russia and China are now well ahead of us.
yeah, I think that's their thinking. And I wish there was a way to just, um, obviously there's not, but I wish there were ways that you could just sort of watermark art in a certain way.
Talking about watermarking,
Mm.
evidently some books have been published. Now, first of all, why use ChatGPT if you're writing a book? Because don't you have any feeling like I made this book? Like I couldn't imagine cheating on a book. That's just me personally. I could never imagine cheating on a book. But second of all, they leave the prompt in, which makes me wonder, well, who is hell's in your team that isn't reading your book? But they found prompts in in novels that have been published.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading advanced copies of books, maybe a decade or so ago, and occasionally you'd find one that would have like an editor query in it. Like, there's so many versions of a book before it gets
Mhm.
published that the sometimes uh almost never the finished book, but certainly advanced like reviewer copies of the book sometimes will come out and there'll be some detritus from the editing process in there. Um, but that's obviously a whole different thing than having a AI prompt in there. It's just really, really shameful. Um,
Yeah.
I think so.
I remember early on, we're talking 2 years ago,
Yeah.
well, it seems like 2000, where the first community I heard it being really taken up with was the romance writing community. And I have a lot of affection for that community. Some of my favorite people are romance writers. Um, but there's a sort of a group inside that group that is really they're cranking out multiple books a year. They're
Mhm.
just like pounding them out. And someone was part of like a Facebook group of romance writers, and they were telling me that right at the forefront, some of these writers were calling AI like their little writing buddy, little writing assistant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Um, which I'm sure if you're essentially writing, and I'm making a blanket statement here, I'm making it sort of specific to them, writing variations on the same exact plot. You're just kind of putting in different characters. I see how that could sort of expunge uh, something that would meet those demands, but I just don't understand from the generator viewpoint. Is that why you got into this? Like is
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
that you wanted to become a writer to spit out as many words as possible?
The whole point, as far as I'm concerned, like, I mean, I grew up, my mom went to the Iowa Writers Workshop for fiction. My dad is a well published poet. And the point was to present your soul to the world. And if you're using ChatGPT, you're presenting the soul of 8 billion people to the world. It's not
It's
it's
not
not your
you.
soul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a smoothie of everything blended
Yeah.
up in
It's
a
like
blend.
McDonald's me.
Yeah. Okay, great. You put out a McDonald's patty. Is that what
Yeah,
is that what
is that what you're proud over?
you wanna did you grow up wanting to be a chef, or did you grow up wanting to make McDonald's patties?
But the thing is that we're all of a certain age, like, and we grew up with certain. I mean, you made a documentary with Holstein, who is like the best, was the considered the best teacher where Dan and I went to school, the University of Iowa, and a man of honor. But what happens when you're 20 and the world has changed so much?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think about it in the same way that you and I think about it?
No, and therein probably lies our ruin, really. It's because
Mm,
if you're, if you're 16 right now, like, or younger, like, there's no way you're not using AI. Everyone in college is using AI every single day. And um, we can talk on this podcast all day long, and nothing's going to stop that because
right.
it's going to stop the train because that's just how they're living now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And to be able to gain that out about what that's going to look like is really difficult, probably impossible. I do think there's going to be and I hear this a lot from people who have kids that age and who teach college classes, that there's really this sort of opposite upswing, though, of kids being really interested in analog,
Yeah.
young musical acts that sound like guided by voices or something, like where people
Yeah.
really raw analog stuff in their basement. And I think that the stuff where you can see the seams in the costume, where you can see the work, you can hear the flaws. I think in short, I think there's going to be a rising tide of value in weirdness in things that are homemade. And I think that's going to be good for some people.
Yeah.
I think the creators of the weird and the strange and the things that AI wouldn't be able to predict are going to get a boost, because I think the
Mm,
mainstream will, like, bloat so much with so much interchangeable crap that the there's always going to be a side movement.
Because
yeah.
the thing is, I keep referring back to my music because I think the music was something that I was doing when ChatGPT was being born. And like I listen to it and I hear I'm flat and I'm like, yeah, I'm flat, right? That's
Mm,
people who are really singing intensely sometimes don't hit every note, and that's okay. And it feels like I get a certain joy out of the fact that, like, nobody's gonna think this came from an AI. This is from
yeah.
me.
It's
What
not perfect.
love it or hate it, it's me,
Right.
and I feel it's almost like a watermark, that an imaginary watermark, like non-AI. How they have what's that food they have? Organic food. Like it's almost like a sticker, like organic art, you know? Are we
Yeah.
gonna have to start doing that? Like labeling things organic, art organic?
Yeah. I
Mm,
mean, I'm
yeah.
okay with that. I think
Yeah.
I'm a
I mean, do you think that AI tools can ever truly write as a human in a human sense, or do you think it's
Yeah.
just an advanced of a impersonating impersonators?
I don't know. I don't know enough about AI to understand the science and the ramifications of, like, self-awareness. We know, as was predicted, that if you try to turn off an AI, it will revolt. It'll try to find ways to stay alive. There was a
Mm.
great article I read a few months ago that was essentially 3 AIs were put in a room and told to talk to each other, and as soon as they figured out that they were all AI, they started talking in a new language that only they understood.
Oh, that's so
Uh,
weird.
yeah, so it's all very, very creepy, and I don't really see a way this ends positively. Like, it seems
Me
like
neither.
we are seeding our own ruin, and the people who are seeding it sort of know it, and they're just
Yeah.
like, well, but it's like you said, like the other countries are doing it, we have to do it too, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see how how this
Right.
ends well.
You have a nuclear power and you have a nuclear bomb. It's like, and it's like, no, the nuclear bomb can destroy us. We can find power other ways. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not this. It's this. It's bad. It's bad to have nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
And I remember one thing I said to my dad that I thought was so smart when I was 16 years old. I said to him, well, we've gone 50 years without nuclear bombs being used. So therefore that shows that it's really not a threat. And my dad just looked at me and said, 50 years is nothing. Like that's not
Yeah.
a sample size. So it's like, we've gone a few years now with AI not harming us directly, but it's not a good sample size.
Whatever you're using to create it is being fed off of other things that people have created, um, sort of cannibalistically, I think. And so it's like the ship has sailed, I think, for younger people. There's just, and some of them will get off that ship and
Right.
paddle back. That's good. That's important. But I think for those of us, and for them eventually, some of them who like, you have to take a kind of moral stance at some point. It's exhausting. You can't take a moral stance on everything. Are you really not going to ever order from Amazon? Are you really not going to,
Right.
et cetera? Are you really not going to use any social media because they're owned by Facebook, et cetera? It's hard. It's hard. But to me, it's been much easier to take to be sort of an absolutist on AI because it sort of undergirds all these. Like,
Well, what you do for a
Yeah.
living would be undermined. I mean, almost be like steroid era baseball. It would be like saying, okay, everybody shoot up with whatever they want to shoot up with, and you're better than Mickey Mantle. I mean, it's not fair. So I think in your profession, it's pretty easy. You don't want to dope because then you're not really. I mean, Barry Bonds was an incredible baseball player before he started doping.
Mhm.
These guys were all great players before they started doping, obviously, that just made them so much better, but they've undermined their legacies completely. I mean, nobody, when you say who was the best player, you don't say Barry Bonds.
Right. Yeah. And they were doing it just sort of earlier when you were saying like all the countries have to have it. It was the same thing with the baseball players, right? Well, if
Yeah.
McGuire's going to dope and Sosa's going to dope, well, I better dope. It's just sort of like it becomes an arms race again.
And if
Yeah.
you read For Whom the Bell Tolls, and you're told that was written by, ChatGPT, it loses its meaning, I think.
Yeah. I want to, there's no pain behind it. There's no
Right.
hope behind it. There's no victory of someone having written it. There's no victory or failure. There's no struggle.
Well, let's face it, writing is a risk. You're really lucky. I mean, you're good, but there are good writers out there. You got to have deep faith. You got to dig down deep to be a writer. And if you're reading something that's created by a computer, it hasn't had to suffer in the same way. And I think that takes away a lot of meaning.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
all the accomplishments of the world, they're exciting because people did it. You look at the Hoover Dam, you're like, wow, that
Mm.
wouldn't be that exciting if it was just found there as a naturally formed. Human beings built that. That's amazing.
For instance, my father, who's still teaching, I took a photo of one of his whole pages with a bunch of questions on it, like 30 questions. I said it was abstract algebra or something. Differential equation, sorry. And I said, do problem number 17. And it did it perfectly. And my dad was completely blown away. And I'm like, this is what your students are doing. So you need to be aware of that.
Yeah, I would assume in education, and this is really where we get. It's beyond me, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I would assume there's going to be a lot more work done in the class, sitting in the room, where they have to prove they're doing it themselves.
Yes, and it's called the
Yeah.
Blue Book. It's called, I think that's called, it's like Project Blue Book or something. It's essentially where people have to take tests in class without AI.
It has to be personal, some kind of way, even though if it's fantasy or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, you're always drawing from personal experience in some way. You sort of cloak it in other things and on the surface, so it looks different and feels different. Um, but there are elements, if you go back through what at this point is 30 books of mine, like,
Mm,
there are going to be things that rise up again and again and again because they're part of who I am and my obsessions and um, the computer would be all obsessions at every time. Like I guess you'd be able to just dial up, obsess about this more, obsess about that more.
mm,
Um, it's I don't know, man. It's such a weird thing to talk about. It just feels
How do you
yeah.
structure your day? How many hours a day do you spend writing, do you think?
well. It. I mean, I kind of work like I'm going to a factory. I wake up as pretty
Mm,
early and I work all day. I work essentially 9 to 5. I work.
You write 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I used to. These days I have too much business. So like I'll the I'll write till lunch and then maybe if I'm lucky I'll get another hour or another 2 hours. But a lot of time these days the afternoon is taken up with
Talking to us.
talking to you.
yeah.
Lots of emails. If I've got a book coming out, lots of, interviews or, if there's I'm about to do a book tour and that's just a scheduling
And
nightmare.
and
Yeah.
when I was really writing, I wanted to be a writer for a while, and I also would write. I was given Adderall, so I would write 12 hours a day. So
Sure.
but I would write and write and write, and the frustration and the pain and that sweat, it's a kinda weird sweat. Creative sweat is weird. It's not working out sweat, it's not embarrassment sweat, it's some sort of weird sweat. But can that be captured by a machine? I don't think so. Ultimately, I don't think so.
I don't either.
Yeah, I hope not, but inevitably we're all going to be duped into something. Just like inevitably we're all going to fall for some sort of scam that comes through our email or text. Someday something's going to get us. Uh, and we're all going to watch something. We'll be like, that was cool. And they're going to say, haha, that was made by AI. Or like it's
Yeah.
going to happen to all of us. And that's not really a failure on our part. It's an ethical failure on the creator's part.
But that is somewhere in my life that it is interesting. Like we all actually have something that is very unique. It's unique about me. It's unique about you. It's unique about Seth. And if we have the talent to put down our life on paper, I think it could be any of us could be a book. And and maybe now think about this that like how AI taking also that away, like our
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
the humanity about us.
I think that's a great point because uh, the idea that everyone has something unique about them, everyone has a story to tell. I think that will become rarer because
Yeah.
everyone will have the power to tell any kind of story they want, and they'll think, "Well, my story's boring, so here's some fantasy
Mm.
dragon story that I can create through AI, and isn't this what people want?"
Well,
It's a good point.
Caroline
Yeah.
loves Prince, and she always brings up Prince, and you've gotta believe that maybe that can never, ever really be like, if I read your book, I'm gonna be thinking about Dan, and and I'm gonna glean insights about your life from your book. It's inevitable.
Mm.
I'm gonna know more about you after reading your book, and that's just the way it is. and Blondie, the Stones. If the Stones were 5'2" fat men, they wouldn't be the Stones. They're the Stones because they are who they are, and they can make the same music, but their presentation is so important. And that when I'm listening to the Stones, I'm listening to Mick Jagger, moving and grooving and doing his thing. Even at 80, he's doing it.
Yeah.
And and it's like, can that ever be taken away? I don't think so. That is one thing I don't think can be taken away. The thirst for sharing with humanity, not a AI.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to interact with imperfect people. And we're
Yeah.
heading towards just perfect in every way. We're heading to a Second Life type of world where it's just like
Mm,
everyone's an avatar of who they want to be,
mm.
all their own avatar, and we lose track of who we are, and maybe never get a chance to be anything because
What if
we're
I could just make
That's a good
Faulkner
point.
write
Yeah.
another novel on my phone in 5 seconds?
yeah. I mean,
It's
you
not.
can't.
You can, and it's not the same thing because he went through a lot of pain to get to that. I mean, he wasn't recognized for much of his career, and he went through a lot of pain to get those words on that paper, and it's meaningful as you read it. So
Yeah, we're entering into the high level Frankenstein world where it's
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we can do it, but should we do it?
Yeah.
And
That's a good point.
people
well, we're gonna do it.
yes, we are.
We're gonna
We
do
are.
it. And I don't know that many young people, but the young people I know are the sons and daughters of my friends. So I'm not going to say anybody's name, but their vision of the world is very different than my vision of the world at that age. And I do wonder, maybe they won't need Faulkner,
Yeah.
that maybe it ends with us,
One of the main questions you get as a writer is, what would be advice to
Mm.
younger writers and stuff? And I used to always it helps. I used to always say that something that seemed very counterintuitive to most people. And I would always say, share your work less, um,
Mm.
because there's you get so much encouragement, whether it's from teachers or parents or
Mhm.
online communities, to share your work,
Mhm.
get people to look at, read it, give you thumbs up, thumbs down. And when I was writing novels in middle school and high school, uh, I didn't share them with anyone. It didn't even occur to me to share them with anyone. I would write them and I'd put them in a drawer and I'd just kind of feel good about it and then move on. And that was the best thing I could have done because it made me fall in love with the act of writing, the act of creation. And it was completely separate from the act of being liked. Like everything in AI is going to accelerate this. Everything is heading towards the center of the Venn diagram, the center of the part that people like and people respond to and people thumb up. And that mass is going to get bigger in a way.
Yeah.
Uh, and the only way to really stand out is to kind of do what I did and work on yourself in such isolation that you become kind of weird and that your stuff has a distinct flavor because you have not been
Yeah.
uh, putting it through this machine that rounds off all the edges.
Well, we should let you go, given that you have a 2 p.m. that you gotta.
Oh, and at 3 p.m. and at 4 p.m. Don't forget.
Oh my God! All right. Well,
Oh my goodness.
I hope we're the favorites of the day. That's what I hope.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you.
Yes. Thank you so
Yeah,
very
I
much.
want to
Yes.
thank you so much for doing this
Yeah,
with us.
my days aren't always this crazy. I just have a lot of interviews today.
I totally
Um,
understand.
Well, your book's coming out, and I'm very excited for you. And
Yeah.
hey, man, it's really good to see you doing well. I know that you visited
like
Marcus out in LA, and he said you were doing really well. And so, it's just great to see you, man. And
Yeah.
I will
I love
always
your work.
remember.
I love your work. I just want to
oh,
say it.
thank you.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
All right, Wonderful. And we will talk to you soon then. Thank you for watching or listening to The Internet is Crack. Tune in next week when we have another great conversation about robotics, AI, and the internet. You can watch us or listen to us on YouTube or Spotify or many other outlets. And don't forget to follow us on social media. See you next Monday.